Hello and welcome to this month's road.cc Recommends. This is where we tell you all about the products that have done really well in our reviews over the last few weeks.
Yep, and we used to do this as an annual award, but by doing it this way, we can keep the recommended products much more up to date, can't we? So that you're not just taking our recommendation on a summer jersey in the depths of winter, basically.
That would be quite chilly. And that's not all. We've got the regular features of our Cafe of the Month, a lovely route for you to check out on our Commute page, and some super useful buying advice.
Rounding out the show will be our product of the month. So Liam, shall we get started?
I think we better. We've got a lot to get through.
We have.
I'll start us off with a great bit of kit for autumnal weather. The Asos UMA GT wind jacket is a women-specific jacket that adds warmth on a cool day by stopping the air from hitting your upper body. On the front, Asos has used their own foil ultra material, which is windproof and water resistant, and our reviewer thought it worked very well. Now, I don't know about you, Becca, but I find that these jackets are some of the most useful bits of kit to have in your wardrobe.
Yeah, they really are great because you can bring them out pretty much throughout the year. If it's a bit chilly and it isn't hammering it down, then a windproof layer is pretty much all that you need. They're more breathable than a waterproof jacket, so you can use them in slightly warmer conditions because you won't overheat as quickly. Then in the winter, if you pop one of them over a thermal jersey and base layer, for example, you will be nice and cosy, and that's what we want.
It's nice to be nice and cosy, isn't it? This is a bit of an investment at £100, but our reviewer thought it was worth it. Now, what have we got next?
Well, we will go from expensive to something that you can pick up for about a tenner. The Elite Chamois cream is a pretty solid option that takes some spreading, but that means it just stays in place. There's just one catch for you, Liam. It contains menthol.
Yeah, absolutely not. Not for me.
Well, I was just going to say, I'll just add if you like a tingle downstairs, this is the stuff for you.
No. You know what, actually? Oh, God. I don't actually use chamois cream at all, but it's quite personal, isn't it?
It is a very personal matter. Very, very personal. But jokes aside, it's such a personal preference thing, isn't it? Some people absolutely swear by always having chamois cream. Some people pop down to the local pharmacy, pick up an E45 cedar cream, something like that. But there's so many specific creams out there that help a lot of people that choose to use it.
You know how I can tell that my training's going well?
Go on.
I couldn't open the tin. It's too tight.
Just cracking on there, yeah.
Right, next. On to something a bit more sensible now. These Boardman carbon shoes are a very easy pair of cycling kicks to recommend. They work brilliantly with these dual closure system dials, and it's got a carbon sole as well. They're stiff but not harsh. Our tester thought that they were really comfortable, and they're just 85 quid, which in the world of cycling shoes is a bit of a bargain.
That is true, and the fit here isn't that tiny Italian thing that you get with some brands. There's plenty of wiggle room in these shoes, so they should be good for those of you with, well, regular feet.
Yeah. Aside from all of that, I think they actually look really smart too.
I like this patent bit at the back.
Both of us go for white shoes though, don't we?
I just shiny or white, really.
We like
but I do have a habit of risking the whiter than white shoes on days that I perhaps shouldn't. So I do often get the anti-back wipes out on them.
Mine are covered in tyre marks and scratches and scuffs around here, along here, because I've done a few crashes. Yeah, I got to get the Tip-X out.
Oh no!
Yeah,
oh no! You can't
I'll go that far.
Tip-X fancy shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, not a problem with these.
Let's put them away.
Right. Well, let's head off now to a visit to a lovely cafe. Over to Brad, who is taking us to one of his favourites.
This month's cafe recommendation is the Old Library Cafe Bar in Waterford, just north of Manchester. Just come back from taking on the Double Divide, which combines the Badger Divide route and the Second City Divide route, Inverness to Manchester, pretty much off-road. The sixth day, we were on the last stretch, but it was a wet day, pretty cold, riding along the Pennine Bridleway. kind of drop down and you come into Waterfoot. We needed some warmth and we needed some warm drinks. Fortunately, we stumbled across the old library cafe bar. It's kind of an old derelict building. It kind of says what it is on the tin. It's an old library. We were going to sit outside because we were a mess. We were grim. The staff inside was so nice. They kind of brought us in, gave us coffee, gave us some cake. It was exactly what we needed. We felt like new men. Yeah, you've kind of got the Lancashire Way not too far away. You've got obviously the Pennine Bridle Way just close by, and there's plenty of riding, plenty of climbing just around the cafe. So would highly recommend it, and let us know in the comments if you've ever been yourself.
Thanks, Brad, and as ever, that segment of the show has made me rather peckish. Moving on now to the Camel Chops Blimp 2.0 handlebar bag. At 40 quid, this thing here is rather inexpensive. It looks great, I think, and it is also very well made by a small independent business right here in the UK.
Yeah, with its 3 litre capacity, there's room inside for all sorts of bits and bobs, such as tools, snacks, importantly, and low bulk extra layers, for example. There's an internal pocket in here.
Nice little one.
Lovely design. Love this. But yeah, I think I was always a little bit cynical about a bar bag, but actually, my friends always pull out snacks, endless snacks, extra layers, all these things, and I think actually my pockets are always full to the brim. And yeah, this is a really nifty design, isn't it?
They always had, like my friends always had them on their winter bikes, and you know, they'd be pulling out basically a full Sunday roast. There's just so much food. And as you know with me, anything that can contain food, I'm well on board with.
That
them.
is true.
So I kind of want one now for this weekend,
Right,
for this weekend, for this winter as well.
It's yours.
Yeah, I might relieve us of this. Put that in my pile.
Just throw that over there.
Yeah.
It's growing. Got the chamois menthol over there as well.
Oh no, that's not getting used.
Let's move away from jazzy bar bags to what is a brilliant leisure e-mountain bike that has plenty of commuting potential. The Cube Reaction Hybrid Performance 500 features pretty standard trail mountain bike geometry, so you've got a great riding position there. But the modest 100mm coil-sprung forks and 9-speed gearing certainly make it best suited to lighter trails.
So the beauty of this e-bike is that it can be easily turned into a commuter or tourer with the addition of Cube's own branded acid kind of fullish length mudguards. There's also a kickstand and rear rack that you can add, and the bike comes with attachment points for all of these.
Well, it looks like it'd be a great one for a commute with mixed surfaces. Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, it would be quite nice because like my ride here is all through town, but I know that there are a few little sections of kind of gravelly stuff, kind of forest trails that I could take in. And if I didn't just do it on my road bike, then I could dive down into those little trails.
Yeah, I love that versatility actually in a gravel bike, and I think so many more people are exploring now. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to see.
Okay, so it's nearly time to tell you about a lovely route to ride, but before we hand over to Dave for that one, we need to chat about bib shorts. So DHB's Block bib shorts are a pretty affordable option for short to medium length rides. So if you want to pick up a set of bibs without breaking the bank, this could be a great choice.
Yeah, well, the fit is ideal if you don't want overly snug kit, and with a quality elastic interface pad at the heart of the shorts, you really can't go wrong. And on that note, let's hand over to Dave now for this month's route.
Today's route is a figure of 8 around the Suffolk and Essex border, and it includes a ferry, which always makes a bike ride better. We've kicked off the ride at Manningtree Station, which is easily accessible from London in about an hour, and the first loop takes you inland into Constable country. Now, early on there's an opportunity to drop down to Flatford and take in some of the scenes Constable painted, although it's a bit early for a tea stop. Don't worry though, you'll be passing by again in a couple of hours. Most people think of East Anglia as flat, but anyone who's ridden this part of the country will know there's plenty of hills to keep things interesting. None of them are long, but a couple of them are quite sharp, including the amusingly named Burnt Dick Hill. Well, amusing if you're childish, like we are. Once you've made it back to Manningtree and climbed up to East Burgolt again, the route flattens out a bit as it heads out past Tattingstone Reservoir to Shotley Gate, where you catch the ferry to Harwich. The ferry runs from March to October, and it's about a 10-minute journey across the estuary between the huge ports at Felixstowe and Harwich. There's a cafe on the pier at the other end where you can get a last snack before the reasonably quick run-in back to the start along the Stour estuary.
Thanks, Dave. He always has a nice route kind of tucked up his sleeve, doesn't he? Onto one that I didn't review, but I have been using. The Primerace computer mount is quite good at holding your bike computer to the front of your bike.
Who'd have thought that?
I know. It is secure, and you're getting a nice alloy design for about half the cost of the fancy K-Edge models. I've also just bought the kind of GoPro attachment so that I can mount my front light under there.
Yeah, it is just about getting to that point in the year, isn't it? We have to think about these things.
I've been caught out already about 3 times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Not got the spares in your bag?
No, well, I haven't got the lights on my bike yet. Well, no, I have now because I've got caught out too many times, but it is not the nicest experience. So take your lights out from now on.
Right, we're moving now on from lights, and we'll move on to our next product. The Ribble Endurance ALE is everything that an e-road bike should be. You get all the pleasurable handling and ride quality of an acoustic version, but with the addition of a power plant that delivers plenty of smooth assistance for those of us who want or need a little bit of a helping hand on the hills.
So this isn't actually the lightest offering out there. I rode the Scott Addict E Premium, I think it was, and that came in at an impressive 9 kg. This one tips the scales at just over 13 kg, but while the Scott was over 9 grand, the Ribble comes in at well under 3. So the bike represents very good value when you consider the kit that comes on it.
Yeah, that is such a true point. And I know you've been riding a few e-road bikes lately. Have you been having a lot of fun breezing up those hills this time?
Oh, yeah.
Not that you ever don't breeze up them, obviously.
Oh, Becca, stop. I've been loving the motor when kind of heading home through town, and that's all uphill. But you can still get your heart rate up if you want to. You can taste blood. It's great.
You really can.
Okay, final product before we turn to some buying advice. The Santini Redux Istinto, I might have said that wrong. These are women's bib shorts, and they are a premium offering from the Italian cycle clothing giant. And they're race focused, and they have an excellent, I repeat, excellent gel pad at their heart.
They do. Now, a race fit from an Italian brand can only mean one thing, and these bibs are certainly on the snug side, so they might not suit everyone. But what this close fit does give, however, is great muscle support, and our tester found them to be really comfortable out on rides.
So at 200 quid, these are certainly a premium purchase, though there are a few other options around this price from the likes of Castelli and Map. So our reviewer did point out one neat thing, and that is that if you're on a tighter budget, you can get the excellent pad that's in these shorts, in the Santini Legend shorts at 110 quid.
Well, we are full of buying advice around here, and it's time to cover what can be a very confusing purchase. Bike lube goes on your chain, and it should be a case of slapping some on and that's the job done. But there is more to it, as tech editor Matt Brett is about to point out.
Yeah, this one can seem more complicated than it actually is, but we can divide chain lubes up into a few different types. There's dry lube, there's wet lube, and there's wax. And of these, the ones you're most likely to use are either dry lube or wet lube. Slightly confusingly, dry lube comes out of the bottle wet, usually a fast flowing liquid, but once it dries it leaves a wax film on the chain. It's this wax that gives the lubrication. The liquid is simply the carrier for the wax. As its name suggests, a wet lube is in fact wet, typically a thick consistency that flows slowly and sticks to everything it's applied to. Unlike dry lube, wet lube remains liquid on the chain. Which lube you choose comes down to the riding conditions and your maintenance habits. A dry lube doesn't attract dirt, and for that reason it's a better choice for dry conditions. But the downside is that it often doesn't last as long as a wet lube. If you're doing short rides in sunny weather on dry roads, a dry lube is a good pick. It has the benefit of keeping your drivetrain nice and clean too. You just have to remember to reapply it more often. If you take the time to look after your bike well, you're a racer or you ride a super high-end bike in the sunshine, then a dry lube is the way to go. We found dry lubes were the most popular among the road.cc team, in particular squirt chain lube, which is tenacious enough to use in crummy conditions too. If you're a regular commuter or a year-round long-distance cyclist, then a wet lube is our tip for you. It's not only going to last longer, but it'll also handle any weather condition. Conventional wisdom points to a wet lube for wet winter cycling, a dry lube for drier summer cycling, and that's a good rule of thumb to follow. You won't go too far wrong if you take this approach. If you're wondering why you can't use WD-40 or GT85, they're water displacement products and should only really be used after cleaning your bike and before correct lubing. They have some lubricating properties and plenty of uses on bikes and around the home of course, but they're not up to the job of fully protecting your bike chain.
Thanks, Matt. Fittingly, Silica's Synergetic Drip Lube has made it into the show this month. This is an interesting option that claims, despite the cost of £32 per bottle, to save you a lot of money in the long run. Now, our testing suggested that they're not lying. The lube, for one, lasts for hundreds of miles per application. It's easy to apply, and it runs clean too.
Our reviewer found that each application lasted for 250 kilometres of off-road riding, and a bottle of this stuff, if you're sticking to roads, should last you for about 19,000 kilometres.
That's not too bad. The lube is also claimed to protect your components better than other lubes, and our tester's chain is coping far better than usual with no measurable wear after 800 kilometres of riding.
Well, I think the moral of the story here is I need to take better care of my chain.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, last one before we get to our product of the month. The Vita Substance RS 2021 has wide tyres and sorted gear ratios, finish off a very comfortable and capable gravel adventure bike.
So Vita says that its Substance adventure road bike will go wherever you point it, on whatever surface you choose, and it does exactly that. Its massive tyres let you float over pretty much any terrain that you choose while helping on the comfort front too. The geometry also keeps everything under control, even when that surface is kind of moving around underneath you.
Yep, know that feeling. The Substance took everything that our reviewer threw at it in its stride. It didn't suit anyone's surface better than the other, and the whole time it just felt very composed. The geometry is relatively slack, making it land on the stable side of twitchy, and while it isn't an out-and-out gravel race bike, it is still very quick.
And with that, Becca, it's time to reveal our product of the month. The Fairlight Farron 2.0 takes the title this month. Dave had the pleasure of riding this one, so it's back to him to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Becca. This is Fairlight's Farron 2, and it's our road.cc recommends product of the month. It's available as a frame and fork for £949 and in full builds from about £2,000 upwards. The bike you see here comes in at just under £3,000. Now, Fairlight offers a huge range of build options, or of course you can just get exactly what you want and the frame set, so it's just perfect for the riding that you're going to be doing. This frame set is Reynolds 631 steel. Now that's the same steel as the 853 that Fairlight uses for its second gravel frame set. It just doesn't undergo the final heat treatment. So that means you get the same tube profiles as the second. This flattened top tube here, which is designed to flex a bit under load to make the bike more comfortable, and you get a bi-ovalized down tube here, which is resisting the steering forces at the head tube and then the pedalling forces at the bottom bracket. The real trump card of this Farron is its versatility. Now here we've got it as a sort of bike packing machine with a GRX 600 1x-group set, 650B wheels and a dynamo hub. You can see that there are about 1 million different mounts here for bottles and dry bag cages, racks and mud guards and lights, whatever you've got in mind really. You know, whether you're doing Audax riding or some touring or a bit of bike packing or even just day-to-day commuting, the Farron has got you covered. I mean, I've done long day rides on this bike, multi-day bike packing trips loaded up with kit. It's been
brilliant. It's been a great ride on more technical trails running these mountain bike tyres, and I've also used big 650B slicks. I've used 700C wheels in this frame with road tyres when I've been sticking to the tarmac. This is a bike that's a lot of fun to ride, and everything about it feels well considered. So whichever way you build it up, there's a clever system of 3D printed cable guides. It means that all the wires and cables are in the perfect place, and this external routing on the down tube means it's easy to swap out a cable if things go wrong in the back of Beyond. I had loads of fun on the Farron, and I would certainly recommend it. I mean, if you're looking for a bike that can be loaded up and pointed at some tricky terrain, then it's certainly that. But it's also fun to cruise around on the lanes or even spec up for a big adventure. Other bikes, including Fairlight's own Sakan, cover the fast end of Audax and gravel better, but for longer, slower rides with more stuff, this Farron 2 will be an excellent long-term companion.
Thanks again, Dave. Well, before we leave you today, we'd love to know which of this month's products is your favourite. Let us know in the comments below, and we'll give away a free pair of road.cc socks to a random commenter. That's all you need to do. And that just about finishes us off for today.
If you'd like to see the full reviews of the products that we featured here, there is a link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.